If the Eagles had won the Super Bowl, we wouldn't have had a show today because of the parade. But we are here, which can only mean one thing. Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are obviously SportsLine fans. I mean, can you blame them? Hello, I'm Siobhan Nolan.
And I'm Libby Gilliland. Unfortunately, I'm lacking creativity today. Ever since the Eagles lost, I just haven't been the same. But we have a golf interview today, and men's basketball is on, wait for it, a 5-game win streak. So things really aren't that bad. You're watching LaSalle TV's home for Explorer Athletics, SportsLine.
Welcome to SportsLine. Our sports have been heating up, which may be why it's been so warm lately. We have all this week's recaps coming up.
And later, I sat down with sophomore Paige Sermonaro from the women's golf team to get her perspective on the upcoming season.
But first, let's take a look at our SportsLine top 3.
Number 1, women's rowing announced their spring schedule this week, which began their season starting on March 25th. The Explorers won't have to travel too far from home, with 4 of their 5 races taking place on the Schuylkill River.
Number 2, several Explorers broke school records this weekend. Liam Rivard and Ibrahim Kadir both broke program records in track and field, while the women's 200-meter medley team of Lauren Fenn, Gabriella Herberter, Tori Fenn, and Emma Van Selm broke a swimming and diving record at the A10 Championships.
Number 3, Caitlin Valentine was awarded NovaCare Student Athlete of the Week this week, ranking in 11 total saves in water polo's 15-4 victory at Mercyhurst at the Bucknell Invitational.
So a lot of school records being broken, especially at the A10 Championships. That's always great to see. And Caitlin Valentine, I feel like that's appropriate because you just had Valentine's Day this week.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, so definitely just, a little bit of a slow week in terms of top 3, but we have women's rowing announcing their schedule. It's really great that they'll be on the Schuylkill most of their season, so they won't have to travel too far. So hopefully we get good results from them.
Yeah, and talking about the A10 Championships for swim and dive, they are happening right now. We have a Wednesday recap for you, but it's through the weekend. It's actually on ESPN Plus, so if any of our SportsLine viewers want to tune in, they're doing pretty well this year.
Yeah, and it's crazy that it takes place over such a long stretch of time, but they've been doing really well, so we're definitely excited to catch up with them there. And that's it for the top 3. Now let's see how our teams did in this week's recaps. Women's basketball broke their losing streak and took back-to-back wins. First up was a matchup against Duquesne. The Dukes took an early lead, making back-to-back threes. The Explorers quickly stopped the run with baskets by Amy Jacobs and Molly Massantonio, putting them ahead 15-11 heading into the second quarter. After one basket by the Dukes, LaSalle left them scoreless for nearly 3 minutes. Foul trouble on the LaSalle side allowed the Dukes to close the gap once again. Back-and-forth scoring closed the half. LaSalle went on a 7-0 run out of the locker room, giving them a 40-32 lead. The Dukes would score just 5 more points on the rest of the quarter. Back-to-back threes from Massantonio and Claire Jacobs secured their 49-37 lead. The Explorers went 5 for 7 in the fourth quarter to take a comfortable 72-56 victory. Next up was number 3 ranked Fordham. Claire Jacobs took the team on her back early, scoring the first 6 points. Backed by a 7-0 run topped off with a Kayla Sproul 3, the Explorers took an 18-12 lead, heading into the second quarter. A light-scoring second quarter left LaSalle up 22-16 at the half. Charity Shears and Sproul helped the Explorers take a 10-point lead out of halftime. The Rams stayed in it in the final corner, but the late 6-0 run led by an Amy Jacobs 3 pushed LaSalle ahead for the 61-49 victory.
Men's basketball was able to get 2 home victories this past week against conference opponents. On Saturday, the Explorers faced A10 rival UMass at Tom Gola Arena. The Explorers started off the game slow as the Minutemen raced out to a 25-18 lead in the first 11 minutes. However, the Explorers clawed their way back to tie the game at 29 after an 11-4 run led by 6 points from Anwar Gill off the bench and a Josh Nickelberry 3 and a basket by Rokas Jokic. Massachusetts would regain the lead and go up into halftime 35-33. UMass would again go on an early run that ended up in a 43-36 lead with just 17 minutes and 4 seconds remaining. Just like the first half, the Explorers would not go away, and thanks to another 11-4 lead led by Jameer Brickus and Deshaun Shepard, a two-handed jam, LaSalle took a 50-47 lead. Although the Minutemen would later regain the lead, LaSalle would go on a 10-2 run and end up with a 82-72 win. The biggest catalyst was Nickelberry, who hit 4 threes in the last 9 minutes and 6 seconds to propel LaSalle to the victory. LaSalle would stay at home for a game Wednesday night against Richmond. The Explorers got off to a slow start and trailed 9-4 to the Spiders, with Bussini Drame scoring all 4 of LaSalle's points. However, thanks to 2 Brantley buckets and 4 points from Gill off the bench, the Explorers were able to go on a 12-7 run to tie the game at 16. Unfortunately, Richmond would finish the half on a 13-8 run and would head to the locker room with a 5-point lead. Unlike their game against UMass, LaSalle came out firing in the second half. Led by 2 Hassan Drame three-pointers, the Explorers were able to go on a 10-4 run to get a 34-33 lead. LaSalle would later jump ahead 48-43 with 10 minutes and 46 seconds remaining, with 5 different players contributing to the run. After Richmond would take the advantage on the scoreboard, Hassan Drame willed LaSalle to a victory by scoring 8 out of the Explorers' next 10 points, including a 3 from the right-hand corner to put them ahead 62-56. LaSalle would then convert 6 free throws to seal a 68-62 victory. The 2 victories have been part of a 5-game win streak for the Explorers and give them a 7-6 record in A10 play.
Track and field had a busy weekend as they headed to New York for not 1, but 2 meets. The Explorers first headed to the BU Valentine Classic, where they broke several program records. Liam Rivard landed in the top 10 spot in the men's 800 meter, placing 6th and setting the record with a time of 1 minute and 48 seconds. Finn Burney was the first to cross the finish line for the Explorers in the 3K with a final time of 8 minutes and 10 seconds. Ibrahim Kadir was the second Explorer to break a record at the Classic. Kadir placed 38th in the 5K with a time of 13 minutes and 48 seconds, breaking the record set back in 2007. It was another great meet for the Mancini sisters. Christine Mancini placed top 50 in the 800 meter, clocking in at 2 minutes and 9 seconds, while Liz Mancini finished 24th in the 5K with a time of 16 minutes and 2 seconds. It was then on to the fast track national invite. Olabisi Adams finished top for the women, claiming first in the long jump. Maya Primus clocked in a time of 58 minutes and 73 seconds in the 400 meter, setting a season best and moving her up to 5th all-time in program history. Lexi Rivard claimed her first medal of the season, earning a bronze in the 800 meter dash. And finally, Matt Bridger and Alexandros cleared the top 10 in the 3K, placing 6th and 7th with times of 8:25 and 8:27.
Water polo hit the pool in Lewisburg, PA this week for the Bucknell Invitational. After taking an 8-11 loss against St. Francis Brooklyn on Saturday, they returned for a Sunday sweep. Their first game was a matchup against Mercyhurst. The Explorers dominated the first half, going up 8-1, and they didn't look back. 4 more goals gave them a 12-1 lead at the end of the third period. They took an easy 15-4 win. Francesca Coe led the team with 5 goals, 2 steals, and an assist. Madeline Corper and Shayna Zuanich had 3 goals each, while Whitney Wood, Grace Smith, Hannah Warren, and Tatum Lomax all had goals of their own. Next up was St. Francis U. The Red Flash got off to a hot start, scoring 2 goals in the first quarter. A score by Coe kept LaSalle in the game, and 1 goal at the end of the quarter gave the Explorers their first lead. The Red Flash found themselves ahead once again, but a goal by Coe tied the game at the 2-minute mark. The game was headed towards overtime until a late penalty called on the Red Flash gave Coe a chance to score the game-winning goal. From 5 meters, she converted the goal and gave the Explorers a 5-4 victory.
Wednesday was the first day of the A10 Conference Championships in Ohio for swimming and diving. For the women, the 200 medley relay team of Lauren Fenn, Gabriella Herberter, Tori Fenn, and Emma Van Selm swam a LaSalle program record time of 1 minute and 42.42 seconds. Phoebe Shea placed 12th overall, diving 277.7 in the finals. The men's 200 medley relay team finished 6th place overall with a time of 1 minute and 29.21 seconds. The men's 800-meter relay was led by Felix Jedbrat, who swam a 1 minute and 35.91 second split, which led the conference and helped the team finish 5th overall. The team will wrap up competition and their season this week.
Women's lacrosse kicked off their season with a game in New York against Iona. Iona scored the first goal and the two goals in the game early, taking the lead. And with 11 minutes left in the first, Maddie Henderson found the back of the net to lessen LaSalle's deficit. Henderson struck again, scoring on a penalty shot, and tied the game at 2. 3 goals by Iona in the final minutes of the period put the Gales back ahead 5-2. Elena Lathan scored her first goal as an Explorer early in the second to get back within striking distance. Iona expanded their lead, but the Explorers weren't done fighting. Claudia Steinmetz and Tori Rowland both managed goals, and Lathan found the net for her second goal of the game. This run left the Explorers down by just 3. Ellen Signey and Madison Click added to the Explorers' goal stats by having goals of their own and cutting the Iona lead to 1. Unfortunately, LaSalle couldn't make a late game run, and Iona scored 2 more late goals to take the win 11-8.
Justice for Josh Nickelberry in that game against Richmond. But seriously, it's great that they're on a 5-game win streak, and UMass and Richmond are very tough opponents. The last 2 times, excluding this time that LaSalle's played Richmond, they've lost. So to see Hassan Drame get 16 points, including a very crucial 3 that kind of cemented their win after a 3, and I think it was the 3rd quarter, LaSalle hadn't trailed after that. But I'm surprised that we didn't see Josh Nickelberry feature very much, especially with his, prowess coming off the bench, his ability to hit threes in a team that's not great at hitting threes. But I'm just really surprised that Fran Dunphy all of a sudden just kind of dropped Nickelberry to the bench and didn't really utilize him against Richmond, because it was a close game. LaSalle had to come back from behind, and I think Nickelberry could have definitely been a factor in maybe pulling a little bit farther ahead.
It was certainly strange not to see him out there more, but like we've said, he halfway through the season is coming off the bench, and to get a win against Richmond, which they were not projected to win, and at the game last night they had so much fire. Both of these games this week were back and forth. They gritted them out and they played really well, and Deshaun Shepard also did not play many minutes either, and those 2 guys were huge in their game earlier in the week. So the versatility on this team is what you can take away from that even with Josh Nickelberry not on the floor, there's other guys that can step up and get wins. And if you're going to go on a late run this season, that's what they need, and that's what they're showing that they can do.
Yeah, and Khalil Brantley was another player that we saw a lot. The commentators during the game were mentioning how much energy he brings to both sides of the court, and how, even when he's not doing the actual scoring, he still has a huge influence on the offense. And they also mentioned that the players have undergone what they called the Dunphy effect, which is where, yes, Fran Dunphy is a coach, he obviously gives criticism where he needs to, but they're able to take that criticism and move on. It's not harsh, it's not a lot of yelling, so I'm hoping that that's really taking into effect and doing what it needs to do to keep this kind of play going.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, I sat down with Paige Ciramano from the women's golf team.
Meet Norm. He lives with anxiety, but with the help of this latest innovation from Be Normal, he can be normal, just like everyone else. With the swipe of a finger, you can project happiness, confidence, machismo. Why settle for being real when you can be normal? The Normal Maker, new from Be Normal. This item doesn't really work because there's no such thing as normal. We're all different. What we like, how our brains work. In fact, 1 in 5 of us live with mental illness. Don't filter who you are. Start by talking to someone you trust. And remember, there is no normal.
People join Walk MS to raise awareness and funds that change the world for everyone affected by multiple sclerosis. Walk MS brings communities together, creating teams with friends, loved ones, and coworkers to rally around those we care about and end MS forever. Together, we can change the world for people with MS. Register today at walkms.org. 'Cause 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 'cause
Welcome back. We finally have an interview this week, and Libby got to sat down with her women's golf teammate, Paige Saramano. Take a look.
Paige, thank you so much for being here today. It's lovely to talk to you and on a desk instead of on the golf course.
Yes,
how are you?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. So you're a transfer this year, and we love Paige. We love you so much hanging on the team with us. But can you talk me through what it was like to be in the transfer portal, why you decided to come to LaSalle?
So yeah, I entered the transfer portal, and my coach in my old school was very supportive. He didn't make me feel bad for it at all, but it was a little too far from home, so LaSalle is a great distance from home. I love the program. You guys are awesome. I have the best teammates ever, so it really was just a good fit all around for me.
Yeah, and how has LaSalle been so far just as an environment? Are you enjoying the on-campus things? I know you've gotten involved on campus, and just apart from golf, are you feeling like it's a good fit?
I really am. I honestly thought that I was going to go home a lot more than I have. I really try and stay on campus as much as possible, which is so fun, and I love the friends I've made here, playing golf. It's all great.
Awesome. And how did you start playing golf?
So I actually live on a golf course, so that really feeds into the fact that I've been playing since I was like so tiny, and my dad is really into it too. He could beat me. He's amazing. So yeah, that's really what got me into it.
Awesome. And so last season, you played all the events. You really stood out as a top performer on the team. Talk me through what that was like as your first season. How were you feeling going into it, and what was the season like?
Honestly, it was good. I didn't play as well as I wanted to, but I'm very thankful that I got to travel to all the tournaments, so that was fun. I'm really just trying to get my game back to where it was last year. I mean, I had a couple like flukes there and here and there and stuff, but I'm really trying to pull it all back together, practice as much as possible, and get back to where I was.
Yeah, and talking about kind of the travel schedule, because you all had a packed schedule last week, or last season, you know, week to week, always on the road. What was that like, and how did you balance that as a student athlete?
I mean, it was manageable for sure. I definitely did homework on the van a couple times, so that really is a little stressful sometimes, but my professors are all great. They always give me whatever leniency I need, which is really nice.
Good, that's awesome. And looking ahead to this season, we have a few events, including conferences. Spring season is really where the head people on the team kind of stand out. How are you feeling heading into the spring?
I'm very excited. I mean, I love Florida. That's where our conference is.
Yes.
I can't wait to go. I think it's really going to be fun. I mean, hopefully we get to do stuff outside of golf as well while we're down there and just hang out as a team. But yeah, no, I'm very excited for the season.
Yeah, it's a great team bonding experience. And kind of talking about this team, we have a really solid group. You know, in the past we've had some coaching issues, and that kind of like deflates the morale of the team. It was tough on us, but having people like you come in with our freshmen, it's really a new energy, and we just love having you all around. How has the team dynamic kind of been? Are you enjoying it so far with us?
I am. I've gotten really close with our freshmen, which is great. I wish there was another sophomore on the team, but maybe we'll get one eventually. You guys are great, all my juniors, and it's great. We have a great little team dynamic.
Yeah, we absolutely do. And talking about kind of this spring and getting back to where you want to be, is there something in your game specifically that you really want to hone in on?
Yeah, definitely my putting. I used to be very confident when I stepped on the green that I can make anything between like 8 to 10 feet, and I really had such confidence, and it's kind of, I lost a little bit. I'm trying to work it on to get it back, but I feel like with all the drills Coach Scott has for us and everything, we'll get right back on track.
Yeah, Coach Scott certainly has a lot for us, including the swing speed drills that we have in the golf room. Now, I was talking about that on our previous show and how much that's kind of helping us develop as players. Thoughts on kind of all the different tools that he's got going for us?
I actually really like the speed training. I don't know if it's great right after we lift to be doing speed training, because it's a little, you can get sore, but I think it's gonna help me. That's another thing I do struggle with, is I don't swing fast enough, but I feel like it's gonna work. Yeah.
And looking forward to kind of future seasons, where do you see yourself on this team? You know, next year you'll be an upperclassman, kind of leading those freshmen that just came in. What will that be like for you?
I think it'll be great. I mean, I'm excited. The freshmen, they're awesome. I feel like they're gonna be great if you leave, because I know you're graduating. It's gonna be very sad, but we'll still have 3 seniors, which will be good, and hopefully we can all work together to make it as great of a season as possible.
Yeah, certainly a really strong team looking into next year with those 3 seniors. What is the part of your game right now that you feel most confident when you get on the course? You've got that part of your game.
I would say my driver. Now, at the beginning of the season, my drives were a little wonky. They were going left and right, and I couldn't really keep it in the fairway, but I got back to hitting it pretty straight, and now I'm confident that I can hit the fairway.
Awesome. Is there an event last season that kind of stood out to you as one that you played well in or that you want to improve on, going into next fall?
The first thing that comes to mind is Navy, which I did not play well at, but I had hit most fairways. So that was the one good thing about that tournament. Now my putting, not so great, but I did hit a lot of fairways for that tournament, which was good. And I really liked Monmouth's tournament, especially because it's near my house. So I guess I'm biased, but I like that course a lot.
Awesome. And a little bit more on team dynamic, we have the men's team, of course, which is a larger team than us. They have 10 of them, which can be a little bit overwhelming to be on the range with them or, putting with them. It's a lot. But how have you felt like you molded with them, and do you enjoy practicing kind of as a collective group?
I love when we go to the course all together. It feels like, there's only 8 of us on our women's team, and a lot of times it can feel intimidating with the other teams that are like huge. So having a collective team between men's and women's, I think, is a great idea. It pushes me to work harder when the boys are there, honestly. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I can't mess around today. I gotta put my A game on. But I like when we do. Scott had us doing a team drill with putting the other day with the boys, and it was a lot of fun. So
awesome. And our home course, Tullamore, I love talking about because it's a tough one.
It is a tough one.
There's a lot of, if you don't hit it straight off the tee, you're in trouble. How has that course trained you for in-season competition?
I really think that Tullamore is one of the main reasons I got my driver back. You have to be straight on that course or else you're losing your ball. And I can't see as it is. I wear contacts, but I'm blind. So if I go in the woods, I'm not finding my golf ball. So
yeah. It's definitely a tough course. And that's where we play all of our qualifiers.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of pressure on those. Was that your first experience with qualifiers? How did it go at your last school, and the pressure, how do you handle that?
At my old school, so what we did was, it was the first couple of days we were at school, we had a qualifier immediately. And it was hard because you didn't know the girls, no one really knew each other, and then all of a sudden you're just thrown out and playing against them. Yeah. And I feel like here, we didn't really do that. We kind of had some time before we were thrown into a qualifier, which helped. Yeah. But it's always going to be stressful.
Yeah, absolutely. And the traveling aspect of it, do you feel like you're more confident going into the season with traveling, playing competitively? You kind of have your feet under you now?
Yes, I definitely know what to expect now here. I had my freshman year, so I did know kind of what traveling was like. But I don't know, I just love it. I think staying in the hotels is so fun, goofing off at night. That's the best part of it. The golf's fun, but I like just hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, the golf is definitely fun, but it's a lot of pressure. And kind of as an athlete, we went to a meeting the other day as a team and talked about how important it was to kind of communicate with each other and support each other's differences. And on the course, how do you feel like you handle that pressure? Do you feel supported by your team?
I definitely do. That's one of the things my dad instilled in me since I was little, is to just not even worry. You hit a shot, you can't get it back. You already hit it, it's already out there. Don't dwell on it. And I really feel like as a team collectively, I've told a bunch of the girls this before, and they've helped me out with making sure that I'm staying calm and not letting it get to me.
Yeah. I love that. Well, Paige, good luck for this upcoming season, and I know you're heading off to practice right now, so have a good practice. Thanks again for being here. Really appreciate it, and it's fun to get a golf interview.
It is. Thank you, Libby. This was so fun.
Back to you, Siobhan. We're going to take one last break, but when we come back, we have all of this week's upcoming games for you. Stay tuned.
People join Walk MS to raise awareness and funds that change the world for everyone affected by multiple sclerosis. MS attacks the brain and spinal cord. It's the most common neurological disease leading to disability in young adults. Walk MS brings communities together, creating teams with friends, loved ones, and coworkers to rally around those we care about and end MS forever. Join us. Together we are stronger. Walk MS fundraising accelerates research breakthroughs and life-changing breakthroughs. It will take all of our passion, determination, and fundraising to end MS forever. Together, we can change the world for people with MS. Join us. Register today, start a team, and raise funds at walkms.org.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see.
Third line, please.
DEPRESSION.
Mental illness doesn't show up on a scale.
Bipolar?
Sorting out a mental health concern is not something to attempt on your own.
Anxiety. I thought so.
Like many health conditions, help for mental illness takes professional diagnosis and treatment. And the sooner you seek treatment, the better.
Look at that. 6,000 steps and PTSD.
If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, don't go it alone. Find out what to do. For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, call 1-800-662-HELP. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support.
Welcome back. We've got another week of LaSalle sports coming up, so here's what you have to look forward to. Women's basketball have a packed week, playing Fordham on Thursday, February 16th, St. Louis on Sunday, February 19th, and Dayton on Wednesday, February 22nd. Swimming and diving will be competing in the Atlantic 10 Championships from Wednesday, February 15th to Saturday, February 18th.
Men's basketball plays George Mason on Saturday, February 18th, and Duquesne on Wednesday, February 22nd. Lacrosse will play Penn on February 18th and Villanova on February 22nd as well.
And that just about wraps it up for us this week. If you can't make it out to see the Explorer Report, be sure to tune in next week for our coverage. Keep up with this weekend's other sporting events by visiting goexplorers.com.
Also check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/LaSalleTV and on Instagram at SportsLineLTV. We welcome you to send your thoughts and suggestions there. Instead of a poll this week, we wanted to give a quick shout out to our writers, Aiden and Megan, and the best graphics the show has ever had, thanks to Ange. Thank you guys.
Yes, definitely could not do it without our team. And for our entire SportsLine team, I'm Siobhan Nolan.
And I'm Libby Gilliland. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you at the game.